Let's do a couple of quick little bear articles that came out because I thought this was interesting last night. So this article went viral yesterday. This is the Uber COO saying that they can't fully justify the costs of token maxing, aka paying for unlimited token usage, because it's not really translating to direct product. And then you had something similar said from Microsoft. So here's what they had to say, and here's at least one perspective on how much token usage is actually going to be happening in these enterprises.
Over the last quarter were AI driven, or, our token usage went from X to Y, or percentage of employees, all these sort of numbers. And it's amazing. And I think it's like this massive transformation of society. But then you sometimes go and you talk to your senior engineering leaders and you're saying, okay, how many projects that were on the cutting room floor got moved above the line because of the, productivity gains, because 25% of our code commits were via Claude Code last quarter. That link is not there yet, right? Like you're not, I think maybe implicitly there's more that is getting shipped, but it's very hard to draw a line between one of those stats and, okay, now we're actually producing like 5% more useful consumer features, right? And that line is hard to draw. And I think over the coming quarters and years, like maybe that will become clearer. But I think today it's hard, even as some of the underlying metrics are like trending in a really astronomical direction.
Now, it's interesting. I think there's a couple things to analyze on that. Number one is Uber stock has been hit pretty badly in terms of relative underperformance compared to the NASDAQ. It's down 13% this year. It just really hasn't been a big winner in this AI boom. And I think part of the reason you've got Uber management saying, hey, we don't really see the impact of AI as much as on our business is also because the earnings haven't been strong enough, even though I think the free cash flow on Uber has been unbelievable. Like objectively, Uber's earnings have been amazing, but the stock hasn't reflected that. So they might be seeing the disconnect between the AI productivity that they should be getting versus the amount of tokens that they're giving to their project managers to be able to spend in relationship to how the market's interpreting it. Number two, I do think it's something to keep an eye on, because at the end of the day, if you have more and more COOs and CTOs saying we can't fully justify why we're spending as much as we're spending, The Verge reported yesterday that Microsoft has started canceling Claude Code licenses, with a quote from one of the senior executives saying that some of the licenses for their AI coding machines, I guess, AI coding agents, are now costing more than the humans that they used to pay to code. So it's like the cost of tokens needs to come down substantially. I think that's one of the big arguments that people have been waiting for. And hopefully if that does happen, you're going to see a lot more momentum in terms of the volume of it going up, which is basically what we've been seeing over the past couple of months now in the context of Codex and Claude Code. But it is one thing to keep an eye on, like how much translation of actual earnings growth and productivity are we going to see from this unlimited spend of token. And you don't want to see that disconnect happen in any meaningful way. I don't think it's happening. A couple isolated cases here and there is, not that big of a deal, but that would obviously result in lower CapEx and, potentially lower ARR growth for OpenAI and Anthropic, which kind of can't happen. Indian IT people cost less than Claude. Exactly. And then the bullish argument about that is that speaks to the bull case on compute constraints, right? Because if we had more compute, then theoretically tokens wouldn't be more expensive than people in India that are good at coding. And so I think it's actually bullish versus bearish, but it's something to keep an eye on in terms of how some of these executives are trying to justify the amount of token spend that they're ultimately putting out there in their fiscal year budgets. This is another reason why the market is going up.